I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
Come out. Come out wherever you are. When was the last time you played hide and seek? I think we spend a lot of our lives hiding and not seeking. So what this lesson is about today is inviting you to come out, to be that truth, that love, that life, that power, that expression of God that you are. Woo! Yeah? Because that is the truth. That is who you are here to be. Now, I like playing hide and seek, but I also like playing sardines. Anybody remember that game? You don't remember that game? Well, it wasn't like this so much. It was more like this. Yeah? You had a bunch of people, and they all went and hid, and then the person that was it tried to go and find them, right? And oftentimes, you found them because everybody would be in that cramped space, and somebody would start laughing and giggling, and pretty soon the whole bunch of people was laughing and giggling, and it would give away where everyone was. And I did love playing hide and seek, and it's interesting that playing hide and seek, only one person has a title. Unlike football or basketball or baseball, where everybody has a position or a title, in hide and seek, there's only one title. And that's the person who's it, right? And the truth of it is, you are it. So today, I'm going to give you 5 important questions about who you really are. And I was just thinking before I start, did everybody get the bulletin with the information on the inside? Right? If you wanted one, you probably got a folder to write on, right? And you have a writing utensil. Because this is a very different service than what we often do today. I believe that a lot of people never look at these questions and never consider the answers to these questions. And I believe that it is possible to look at these questions and have a shift in the way you think. I'm going to ask you some very basic questions today that have a deep understanding. And as we do this, I invite you to really look at what is your truth. Maybe a way to answer these questions in a way that you haven't answered them before. And so, if I was a hypnotist, I'd go, okay, you're all hypnotized. Actually, you're all let's all kind of be in a state of awareness where we can listen, connect with our heart, and write the answers to the questions at the same time, yeah? And so in setting that up, we're going to know the truth, that the presence of God is right here, right now. And that you have showed up today because there is something for you to know about yourself. That presence within you has called you forth. You might have thought it was to be here for Charlie's music, which of course it is. And his music leads us perfectly into the truth of who we are, which my intention is that we discover something a little bit deeper today. Come out. Come out wherever you are. I invite your presence, your power, your spirit to come out today to you. So we're going to look at 5 important questions. Your answers could change your life. This lesson is based on Wendy Craig Purcell's book, Ask Yourself This. So, the first question I will give you, and each question I'll give you time to reflect and to write. I won't give you a whole lot of time, but I will give you a little time. So I encourage that spirit within you to be concise and to bring forth that which is true quickly. So the first question is, what do you know for sure? What is absolutely true for you spiritually? What do you think about God is? Why are we here? What is your spiritual journey about? What do you know for sure? I love what Deepak said. He said, religion is for those who don't want to go to hell. Spirituality is for those who have already been through it. So we're talking about what is spirituality about for you? Why is it important? What do you believe that's true? So go ahead and begin to write what's true for you. And let your answer be above that which you've been told is true. But what is true for you? What do you know for sure? And so you might complete that answer with what you know right now, knowing that you can come back to this question later. But let's move on to the next one. The second question is, how wide is my circle? How wide is your circle? What do you include in your circle of life? What people, what experiences do you hold dear? And in looking at what you hold dear, what do you keep out? Is there a boundary to your circle? Are there people that you leave outside your circle, perhaps people that you don't love? Maybe there's possibilities in your life that you don't give yourself time to experience. Things that could be a higher priority for you in your life, but you don't include them in your circle. Praying, meditating, eating healthy. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, life must be lived on a higher plane. We must go up to a higher platform to which we are always invited to ascend. There, the whole aspect of things changes. So what can you include in your circle that'll help to allow you, to empower you to rise to the next level? Abraham Lincoln said, I don't like that man. I must get to know him better. Don't we do that sometimes? Put somebody outside of our circle. Refuse to love somebody because we're afraid to love them, or don't think we have the capacity or the amount of love to share, as if love were some quantity that we can give away and be empty as a result. So take another few moments to consider, how wide is my circle? Are there places where you can expand your fences to experience more of the fullness of God? And let's go on to question 3. Is faith or fear guiding your decisions? I think it's powerful to look at in my own life, whether am I being driven by faith, or are the things that I'm afraid of driving my decisions, driving my direction? Or rather, am I pulled by love? Am I pulled by faith? Am I pulled by knowing that the power and presence of Spirit that is everywhere is drawing me into the right situation and drawing that situation to me? There's a story that I like about a suspension bridge over the Niagara River. In 1847, this bridge was commissioned. The bridge was connect the Canadian side of the river with the American side of the river. That day, at that time, the usual way to connect the bridge would be to take a wire on one side of the river and take a boat across to the other side. But because of the rapid flow of this river, that wasn't possible. So it appeared to the engineers that if they could fly a kite across the river and have the kite come down on the other side, that perhaps they could use that string to pull the wire across the river. And they tried, and finally a 10-year-old boy whose name is Homan Walsh successfully flew his kite across that river. And, oh, by the way, he won a $5 prize for that. And the string of the kite was then taken to pull a cord across the river. And it increasingly pulled a larger and larger cord until they pulled a cable across. And then they pulled another cable across. And eventually, as a result of that, this bridge was built. So the message is to trust in the faith that you have and use it to build on, rather than worrying about how much more you wish you had. Emerson said, "He has not learned the first lesson of life who does not every day surmount or overcome a fear." So is faith or fear guiding your decisions? If you were guided totally by faith, what would you do? If you could listen to that inner voice, to that spark of divine love and truth within you, and act totally out of faith, even though it just seems like a glimmer, what would you do? Just with that glimmer of faith, that string of faith, what would you do differently? How would you be differently? How would you love differently? Okay, let's go on to the fourth question. And that is, what am I listening for and to? You know, listening is a perception. We tend to hear what we think is true. So are you listening to the appearances of lack and limitation? Or are you listening to your own spiritual guidance and knowing the truth? There's a story that I like that takes place in Manhattan. Two colleagues were walking down the street, and during their lunch break, and one of them was a businessman, native of New York, and the other one was a Native American born on a reservation. And they're walking through the crowd. And it's busy and it's smoggy and people are talking and their phones are ringing and the traffic is going by and it's loud. And the Native American says, "Wait a minute. Do you hear that?" And the businessman says, "What do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about." And the Native American says, "Come here." And they walk across the street to where a tree is planted, and the Native American looks and says, "There's a cricket making noise at the base of this tree." And the businessman says, "How in the world? Did you hear that? You must have super hearing." And the Native American says, "No, it's just what I was listening for." He said, "Come here, let me show you something." And he reached in his pocket and he took out a bunch of change. And he said to the businessman, "Give me all the change in your pocket." So he put his change in his hand, and they were walking down the street, and the Native American said, "Watch this." And he took all that change, and he went, and he threw it on the ground, and everybody stopped. And they're checking to see if they had their change, or do they have their keys? Do they have their wallet? They knew that sound. We know that sound, don't we? We know the sound of money or keys hitting the floor or the sidewalk. And it's the same way. What are you listening for in your life? What are you looking, seeing, hearing in your experience? What do you want to hear? Are you listening to faith, to hope, to power, to prosperity? What are you hearing in your daily experience? What are you hearing in the way that people talk about you or to you? Because it's all a reflection, isn't it? It all reflects to us what's going on. So when we change that we know is true, we change the way that we hear the world. So what are you hearing? What are you willing to listen for? To listen for love, to listen for peace, to listen for prosperity, to listen for power. What am I listening to? What am I listening for? Okay, so let's finish that one and we'll move on to the last question. And that is, what is God preparing me for? What is God preparing you for? I know for me, Spirit has been preparing me to teach my whole life. I've loved to help people learn. It's what I did naturally as a student. Even going through school, I'd always look to help other people. Part of my journey has been to teach school. I've taught first, second, third, and seventh and eighth grade. Well, here is my first grade class back in 1996 in Oakland, California. I'm the taller guy in the back. And this is in East Oakland that I taught. I think I told you the story. I was picked out of a line of 500 people by an administrator who came by and asked me, "Why do I want to teach in Oakland?" I said, "Because I want to change lives." My class, everybody in my class knew somebody that was in jail. Everybody in my class knew someone who had been shot. Sometimes gunfire would ring out in our neighborhood, the neighborhood of the school, and we would take all of the students into the cafeteria. So we knew where everybody was. Here's a couple of girls in my class. This is me at we did little celebrations for time to mind, or had assemblies from time to time, and I was watching my class do I Can Fly, that song that you've sang, Kurt, so many times, and I had them all make gestures together doing this song. And here's some of my kids working on counting really early in the year for these first graders. But who I want to show you was a student that those who know me I've talked about many times. And this is Dawn. Dawn was slow. It didn't seem like Dawn was ever going to learn how to read. And I remember the day. I remember the moment when Dawn was looking around the classroom and because you know how you do it when you're teaching elementary school, you have posters and signs and things all over the classroom, right? And I remember the moment when Dawn was looking up at something and he was reading it to himself. Don Johnson used to talk like this. He'd say, Mr. Tinley, he called me Mr. Tinley. He said, Mr. Tinley, we're going to do some mathematics today, Mr. Tinley. And as it turns out, this guy became very good in math. In the 2 years after he was in my class, I was able to talk to other teachers about him and found out that he had a real knack for mathematics. And a kid that touched my heart. And to show me how much I love to see the light go on in children and adults. And it's why I do this work. You know, somebody came to me this week and said, you know, what you talk about on Sunday morning has changed my life. The counseling that you gave me changed the way that I think about myself. And that's what I love about Unity Principles. We teach practical principles that people can use in their lives to change their thinking and experience more prosperity, more happiness, and more love. Yeah. Anybody experience any of this through the teachings that we teach? Yeah. So what is God preparing me for? What is God preparing you for? I listen to Oprah's, I get up early on Sundays, and this morning on Facebook Live was Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul Sunday. And I listened to the program today here, and this man was on there, Wes Moore, who wrote this book titled The Work. And he said that the universe needs an action that you are prepared to give. You, me, all of us. The universe needs us, has called us forth to do an action. He quoted somebody else on the show today, and he said, for me, hell would be God showing you the things you could have accomplished if you had tried. Wow, is that a different version of hell? I don't want to experience that one. I want to live my life as full and as deep as I can, yes? That's what life is about. That's why we're given these bodies, these minds, this ability. Maya Angelou said, your crown has been paid for. You have it. You have all that you need. The crown that you are wearing has been granted by you, by the presence of God within you, for you, to live your life in a dynamic way. So come out. Come out wherever you are. Be who you are. Show who you are. Live who you are. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be opened to you. There is a divine appointment for me, and I show up for that appointment right now. Let's say that together. There is a divine appointment for me, and I show up for that appointment right now. I invite you to close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Thank you, loving Spirit, for this opportunity to live on this beautiful planet, to be the essence of truth, the essence of life, to be perfect expressions of your love. I know I have all that I need. My crown has been paid for. Breathing in and breathing out. Knowing the truth. Knowing that you have all that you desire. And that the presence of Spirit in you loves you so much that you are given this universe to live in. Breathing in and breathing out. Gently becoming aware of the truth that you are. As your awareness returns to this moment, and I invite you to open your eyes whenever you're ready.